Hello, Mount Royal University. This is your CMRU.ca news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jamin Jim.
And I'm Cass Patterson. In today's news, we're discussing the new cannabis bylaw, revolving doors, sports, and weather. But first, Jamin, what's going on with residents come the fall?
This September, Mount Royal University residential fees will be going up. They are going up by 2% because of rising costs. The Director of Resident Services says this has been because of an increase in property taxes, and he has to pay his staff more because of the hike in minimum wage. All these costs are making it more expensive to live on university campuses throughout Alberta. The additional cost may make it difficult for some students already struggling to make ends meet. Mark Keller is the Director of Resident Services at Mount Royal University. He says that if he could fill student housing, it might help keep rent down. He's looking outside of Mount Royal for renters.
That's who we want to have living here. But unless we were running on a wait list of Mount Royal students, I'm perfectly happy to have other students living here as well. When we get to that day where we're completely full of Mount Royal students, we have a wait list of Mount Royal students, then that's obviously who we are taking in as a priority. But until that day, the more people I have living here, the more I can keep costs down, right? So we do have, if we have space, and if we have space during the year, we try to fill it with groups, we try to fill it with casual guests, we work with continuing education and international education to fill spaces as best we can.
As an incentive to keep res full, returning students will receive a rebate if they had applied before the end of February. While all universities are increasing residential fees, certain ones are increasing more than others. The University of Alberta in Edmonton is raising their res fees a whole 4%, almost double of what Mount Royal is imposing on their students wanting to live on campus. What else is going on in residence?
Mount Royal University's Resident Services is hosting its own Olympics to close off the school year. This past Wednesday was Hype Day to excite residents about the events. Residents advisors set up t-shirts and they got to paint them as well. Residents got to make team shirts for the upcoming games and competition. The events lined up for the Res Olympics are dodgeball, volleyball, basketball, and bubble soccer. The games are open to residents only, and the hosts hope to make this an annual event. Res Olympics is happening this Sunday, April 8th in the Stanley Gym. If you could try one of those, Jamin, which one would you try?
I think I would try dodgeball. How about you?
I think that I tried bubble soccer. It's something that I think would be quite interesting, and it's big now.
Yeah. Speaking of other big things, the city of Calgary is ready for the legalization of marijuana come July 1st. Council passed a new bylaw yesterday on the sale and consumption of pot. The bylaw for the use of pot is similar to that of alcohol, which means smoking, vaping, or edibles aren't allowed in public places. This decision to allow or to not allow public consumption follows the same path as states like California and Nevada, where pot is legal in the states. For Mount Royal students, this will mean that lighting up on campus is something you just can't do. City Council also approved the cannabis stores to be added to the land use bylaw and will have a similar approach to liquor stores with some unique rules and guidelines. The city will start accepting applications for these stores later this month.
Mount Royal can now generate its own electricity on site thanks to a new $2.5 million plant installed by the building operations team. The new unit will drive down operating costs and reduce the university's greenhouse gas emissions. Trevor Chambers tells us that there were some pretty tight deadlines to meet.
Workers are giving a new plant its final touches as it gets ready to go into full power soon. Mount Royal will become independent and self-sufficient by producing its own energy with the new Cogen CHP plant, a partnership project between MRU's building operations team and ATCO Energy. ENMAX has been the main provider of energy for MRU. By partnering with ATCO on this project and moving away from ENMAX, the campus will reduce its utility costs and carbon prices. Owen Zerzun is the Building Operations Director for MRU. In order to receive a 30% rebate from partner ATCO Energy, Owen had a small window of time to get things going.
18 months to plan, design, tender it, procure the unit materials, install, and commission. And if we did not meet those targets, we would not receive that 30%.
The workers understood how tight the time frame was and made sure to stay positive and very focused.
Oh, it's always challenging and fun. It's usually challenging, and so it takes time to design and make it properly.
This brand new plant provides its own electricity and heat. It was built and sent in from Italy. Some assembly required, of course. I'm Trevor Chambers with CMRU.ca News.
The MRU Book Showcase event is a way to help connect MRU faculty members and students. Faculty members get to present their published books for a brief 5 minutes. Sreva Alieva has more on the story.
This event is a way to help connect MRU faculty members and students. Faculty members get to present their published books for a brief 5 minutes.
Today's event is designed to be a celebration of Mount Royal book authors, so bringing together from across campus faculty who have recently published books. The idea is to get together and celebrate research as part of Research and Scholarship Days on campus this week and next.
This event gets to showcase original research, creative work, and books edited by MRU faculty members.
This is a way into helping students getting to know more about the professors. The faculty members do way more beyond than just teaching in class.
I always tell my students we're not just teachers, we actually have lives and we're engaged in the community, and so you should get to know your professors and get to figure out what they're doing, and hopefully building relationships means that they also can facilitate helping you make connections in the community as well that might be relevant to your career or your studies.
MRU Book Showcase event happens twice a year at MRU. Sreva Alieva, CMRU.ca News.
Last week we showed you the nominees for the annual Cougars Night. The event is an evening to recognize outstanding players. Felicia Jobs joins us with an update on who took home awards.
The annual Cougars Night was a night to celebrate both the men's and women's season that they shared. The fifth-year volleyball veteran, Alex Donaghy, she went home with the Alice Bonahus Award for Athlete of the Year, as well as the Brian Fleming Award. Basketball captain Noah Lewis received the Brian Fleming Award, and Jesse Lees received the Al Bonahus Athlete of the Year Award for the men's teams as well. Women's hockey, Tatum Amy, and men's soccer, Josh Muniz, took home the Rookie of the Year awards, and 2 athletes were inducted into the Cougars Hall of Fame that night. Kent Greaves, known for his outstanding setter performance for the Cougars volleyball teams in 1986 to 88, as well as Julia Pacheca. She played for the women's volleyball team during both the CCA and the U Sports during the school's transition to a university in the years 2011 to 2014. Other notable award winners that night include Haley Lefave, who got the Community Leadership Award for 280 hours of volunteer service, as well as the Athletic Therapy Awards were given to Laura Wood, 3rd year, and Miles Coldwell, 4th year, for their support and professionalism. MVP awards were also handed out. Those awards were given to Alex Donaghy, who played for the women's volleyball team, Devoni Deschamps, who played for women's hockey, Becky Nash, who played for the women's basketball, as well as Jonathan Phillips for men's volleyball, Cam Lanigan for men's hockey, and Josh Ross for men's basketball. Sports is wrapped up for the year, but we look forward to keeping you guys updated next year. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Felicia. MRU is struggling to keep cold air out of Main Street. The revolving doors located at the east and west gates are being avoided, letting in cold air and reducing air quality. Chris Campbell has the story.
On a busy Monday morning, Main Street is flooded with students both entering and exiting campus. But when they are headed towards the doors, they're left with an option. They can take the revolving doors, or they can take the automatic priority access doors. The observation made this year by the school is that fewer and fewer students are actually choosing to use the revolving doors and are instead using this automatic door as their main exit and entry points. I spoke to a student on Main Street today to figure out why. This student explains why she chooses the automatic door.
Sometimes it's being pushed really fast and it's a safe hazard if you might fall or hit the sides and stuff. It's a little bit scary for me.
Grant Summerfield says there are other things to consider when making the decision. The revolving doors preserve air pressure and air quality.
So it does affect our utility consumption, which in turn lowers our greenhouse gas production. And it maintains the indoor air quality in a much better way.
Summerfield really struggles to understand why this has become an issue this year. He theorizes that the new sensors are to blame, but can't be sure.
It's been really interesting to us from a behavioral standpoint. I spent a lot of time just standing by those doors watching. A lot of able-bodied people just use the automatic door, and I don't know why. It's a brand new issue.
For CMRU.ca News, I'm Christopher Campbell.
Hi, I'm Noah McPherson with your CMRU.ca weather. Taking a look at the national weather so far, you can see it's actually very nice and warm on the west coast with a +9 in Victoria and a +10 in Vancouver. As we move east there, it's going to be a -7 up in Prince George and -17 all the way up in Yellowknife and -13 Edmonton. Saskatchewan is even chillier than us, surprisingly, with -19 and -18 in Saskatoon and Regina, -13 in Winnipeg, a nice even 0 in Toronto, a +2 in Ottawa, a +3 in Montreal, and Far East Coast is a -1 in Halifax, a -5 in Charlottetown, and a -1 in St. John's. And last but not least, all the way up in Iqaluit, it's a -7 there. Now, looking closer provincially there, or I guess locally it is. Oh, no, provincially again. Up in Fort McMurray, it's a -18. Edmonton, -13. Red Deer, 17. Banff, -13 again. Calgary, -14. And Lethbridge, -12. All in all, it's very, very chilly province. Looking locally, like I said, it's -14. But with the wind chill, it actually feels like -25. So, yeah, bundle up. It's very, very cold. And with that -25, actually, it makes us today marks the coldest April 6th that we've ever had since we've been keeping records. So yeah, it's really cold. And so far, it's actually the coldest April that we have. Now, looking into our 3-day forecast, we have Friday with a high of -10, a low of -12. Saturday, a high of -8 and a low of -9. And finally, Sunday with a high of -3 and a low of -4. So all in all, slowly getting warmer there. Hopefully spring will be soon. Anyways, that's all I got for the CMRU weather. So back to you guys.
Thank you, Noah. I'm hoping that spring will be soon too, so I can put away my coat and bring out my sandals. Now we are going to throw it to Ben Goodman, who has the entertainment.
Thanks, Cass. Opening in theaters this week is horror film A Quiet Place, directed, co-written, and co-starring John Krasinski, best known as Jim from NBC's The Office. The film also co-stars John Krasinski's real-life wife, Emily Blunt, and it's about a creature that hunts solely by sound. So a family is forced to live in the titular Quiet Place. Also opening this weekend is Blockers, directed by 30 Rock vet Kate Cannon, produced by Seth Rogen, and starring Leslie Mann, Ike Barinholtz, and John Cena. The comedy is about 3 parents, played by those 3 people I just listed, trying to stop their daughters from having sex on prom night. So that's the premise. The movie is the latest in a series of R-rated comedies for Cena, where he's worked with such comedy moguls like Judd Apatow, Tina Fey, Lorne Michaels, and Adam McKay. It'll be a busy weekend for Big Match John as he returns back to his day job on Sunday when WrestleMania 34 happens in New Orleans' Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The showcase of the Immortals starts with a 2-hour pre-show at 3 p.m. Mountain, which includes the 5th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is kind of tied to the HBO documentary on Andre airing on Tuesday. And a main show begins at 5 p.m. Let's give a quick rundown of the major main events on the card. WWE Universal Champion, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, with his advocate, Paul Heyman, defends his Universal title against the big dog, Roman Reigns. Brock is rumored to be leaving the WWE to go back to UFC, where he's, so the match has additional stakes more than just it being for the title. As one door potentially closes, another one opens. As former UFC star Rowdy Ronda Rousey teams up with the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle and goes against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. From an in-ring debut to an in-ring return, as Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer Daniel Bryan returns for his first match since April 2015 to team with Shane McMahon to go against Maribel Candazone, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. Bryan is making his return after retiring on WWE Raw February 2016 due to a fear of concussions and lesions on his brain. But since then, he's been cleared to compete again by 4 doctors. In a rematch of their January 4th, 2016 battle and Wrestle Kingdom and the rival promotion New Japan Pro Wrestling, the current WWE champion AJ Styles will be going against the current Royal Rumble winner Shinsuke Nakamura. It's going to be a great match. Going back to Cena now, it hasn't been officially set yet, but he looks to be going against the dead man, The Undertaker. Maybe going back to his American Badass thing with the biker. It's going to be kind of cool. You can watch all these matches plus 8 more I did not list. There's so many matches. All this Sunday on the WWE Network. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ben. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm Jamin Jin.
And I'm Cass Patterson for CMRU.ca News. We're going to leave you with photos from events that happened around Mount Royal over the past week.
This will be our last newscast for the semester, but you'll see us again in September.